Hello everyone and welcome back to Voice After 50. I'm your host Beverley and I'm really glad you're here. Before recording today's season finale episode, I was contemplating how I wanted it to feel. Not just what I wanted to say, but how I wanted you to feel when it ends. And the word I kept coming back to was joy. Not the big life-changing kind, just the easy kind. The kind that sneaks up on you. The kind that, if you're not careful, you might almost dismiss. And lately, for me at least, that kind of joy has been showing up in the most unexpected way. In being a little bit silly. The absolute freedom to be completely, unapologetically silly. And not care even slightly who's watching. I don't know exactly when it happened for me, but at some point the embarrassment just left. Like it packed a bag and went. And what it left behind was so much better. Think back to your 20s or your 30s. The self-consciousness of it all. The managing of how you came across. The performance of being a credible adult person in the world. Caring what strangers thought. Caring what acquaintances thought. Sometimes, honestly, caring what people you didn't even like thought. The energy that took, the constant low-level monitoring. And then, somewhere after 50, it starts to lift. Not all at once, not dramatically. No one sits you down and says, right, you're released now. It's more like you catch yourself doing something ridiculous one day. And instead of dying inside, you just laugh. You think, that was genuinely funny. I was funny. On my own. Excellent. I think this is one of the most underrated things about this stage of life. And nobody talks about it because it doesn't look like a virtue. Confidence, yes. Wisdom, absolutely. Knowing yourself, all of that gets celebrated. But silliness, being ridiculous, the sheer liberty of it, that one doesn't make the list. And it should. Singing, loudly, alone. Let's start with the obvious one here, the singing. Not humming, full performance, lead vocalist energy, main stage, possibly with a wooden spoon. And at some point, I stopped caring whether the windows were open, stopped caring if the neighbours could hear, stopped caring if I was doing the voice correctly and hitting the right notes. Because the thing is, about singing loudly and maybe sometimes badly on your own, it is one of the purest forms of joy available to a human being, in my opinion. It's completely free. 0 equipment is required. And you have to be a certain age to fully unlock it. I genuinely believe that. Talking to yourself in public. I do this. I fully do this. And not quietly. Not in a way that could be mistaken for a phone call. Just talking to myself out loud. In the supermarket mostly. Where have they moved the... there it is. No, not that one. Right. What else? I used to catch myself and look around to see if anyone had noticed. Now I just continue the sentence because genuinely it helps. It's efficient. It's a running commentary on my own life and it keeps things moving. Anybody who wants to make something of that is welcome to find someone else's trolley to follow. Dancing when there is no music. Not even a song in your head necessarily, just movement. A little shimmy, possibly while waiting for the kettle, which I do this a lot. I have danced in the queue at the post office, not because I was particularly happy to be there, just because my body decided that was what was happening. The woman in front of me turned around, and I did not stop. I just sort of nodded as if to say, yep, this is happening. Carry on. She actually smiled, which honestly is the correct response, really. The voices for the pets or the inanimate objects. If you have a pet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The voice you do for them, the full character you've developed, the opinions they have, the things they would say if they could speak. And if you don't have a pet, the inanimate objects. The plant you apologise to when you've forgotten to water it. The car you talk to when it's being difficult. Come on, don't do this, not today. Fully normal, entirely sensible. I stand by all of it. Laughing at your own jokes before you finish them. Now, this is a very specific and wonderful thing. You start a story, you can see where it's going, and you start laughing before you get there. Not because you're performing, because it's genuinely funny to you in the moment before the punchline. I used to think this was embarrassing, like you were supposed to keep it together, deliver the line, wait for the response. Now I think, nah, this is better. This is the honest version. I found this funny before you did, and I'm not hiding it. The joy is the point. It doesn't need to be polished. Doing things in the rain. You know that thing where it starts raining and you do a little run? Not to protect anything important, just a little run for the drama of it. Or you're already wet and you just stop. Just stand there and think, all right, I'm wet. This is fine. There's something very liberating about being rained on and deciding it doesn't matter. We're very waterproof, it turns out. I think younger me would have been horrified. Current me is just checking whether there's enough hot water for a bath when I get in. That's progress. I've been thinking about why this happens, why the silliness comes back, or maybe arrives properly after 50. And I think it's because you stop performing. When you're younger, so much of what you do is for an audience. Even when no one's watching, you're imagining one. You're narrating yourself to some invisible panel of judges. And at some point, the panel just disperses. They got bored and went home. And you're left on your own doing what you actually feel like doing. And what you feel like doing, it turns out, is being a little ridiculous from time to time. And it's wonderful. There's something that children have, this complete unself-consciousness. They do things because the thing is fun, not because it looks good, not because it makes sense, because it's fun. And then life kind of trains that out of you for a few decades. And then, if you're lucky, and I think most of us are, you get a version of it back. Not the same childhood. Better, actually, because you know what it cost. You know what it felt like not to have it. So if you're being a bit silly lately, good. If you've been singing in the kitchen, talking to yourself at the shops, laughing at your own jokes before you finish them, good. That's not a sign of anything going wrong. That's a sign that something's gone very right. The quiet liberation that comes with age, specifically that moment when you stop monitoring yourself through other people's eyes, is fabulous. That's one of the most underrated gifts of being over 50, and women don't talk about it enough. Most of the cultural messaging around aging is about loss, what you can no longer do, what you can no longer wear, what you can no longer be. This flips it completely. And maybe this is one of the quieter freedoms of getting older. Not that you stop caring entirely, but that you start choosing when to care. to begin to notice that a lot of the rules you were following weren't really yours. They were absorbed, inherited, picked up along the way. And once you see that, it becomes a little easier to set some of them down. Not all at once, not perfectly, just here and there. Like deciding that laughing loudly isn't something you need to apologise for. Or that if you wave back at someone who wasn't actually waving at you, you don't have to pretend it didn't happen. You can just laugh. There's something unexpectedly tender about that shift, because it isn't only about being more relaxed, it's about letting yourself be seen, even if it's just by you, without immediately correcting or censoring the moment. And for many women, that can feel quite new, or maybe not new, but long forgotten, because you've been so busy being dependable, holding things together, thinking ahead, getting things right. There hasn't always been space to be the one who gets things a bit wrong in a harmless, human, even slightly ridiculous way. So when that starts to creep back in, those small, unpolished, slightly silly moments, they carry more than just humour. There's a kind of homecoming in them, a recognition, like, oh, there you are. Not the polished version, not the composed version, just you. And I don't think this is about trying to become a different person. It's not about suddenly deciding you're going to be wildly carefree if that doesn't feel like you. It's much gentler than that. It's about noticing where joy is already trying to get your attention and not brushing it aside, even when it comes wrapped up in something a bit daft and silly. So as we come to the end of this season, that's really all I want to leave with you. Not advice, because you know I don't do that, and that's not what this is about. Not a list of to-dos or to-tries. Not something to get right. Just a small invitation. The next time you feel that flicker, that urge to do something a bit playful, a bit unnecessary, a bit silly, a bit you, see what happens if you don't shut it down straight away. You don't have to make a big thing of it. Just stay with it a moment longer than you normally would, and notice how it feels. It's been an absolute privilege to share this season with you and to have these conversations. And today, the slightly lighter conversation, because all of it belongs. The depth and the lightness, the reflection and the laughter, the version of you who holds everything together, and the version who sings in the kitchen when no one's watching. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next season in a couple of weeks, and until then, just leave a little room for joy. And if it looks a bit silly, that's okay. Talk soon. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow the podcast so you never miss an update. A quick note. The content of this and all podcast episodes is for general information and entertainment purposes only. It's not professional advice, counselling or therapy. Please consult a qualified professional for any personal, medical or psychological concerns.